What's your Tyler's back with Retro Reviews here on Tyler's Retro Reviews on my 20th birthday, so no better way to do it to do Destination X 2006 on March 12th when I turn 8. Funny enough. But I'm praying about next week. Or at the same, or as I meant to say, dreading about next week. Because we always know what next week will be. That's next week. But we're not going to talk about that next week. You obviously know what it was. You obviously know what that was. Stay tuned next week for that. And SmackDown will be tomorrow, by the way. When I get WTK 26, I'm going to do that. Anyways, March 12th, it was in the Impact Store in Orlando, Florida. So, this is the continuation of revisiting all the TNA periods in 2006 again. Well, not all of them. I already did Final Resolution, Lockdown, Slammiversary, No Surrender, and Bound for Glory of 2006, like, before this, so. But I'm going to do, like, the other one. So, I already did Lockdown back 2 years ago, so that one's already reviewed, so you will not see another one of these again until Sacrifice 2006 going into May, as well as that. And all that. I'm doing, like I said, all the rest of the 2006 TNA pay-per-views, as well as the other pay-per-views from TNA 2011, which we fucking know about what next week is. We'll get to that one next week. Anyway, so like I said, the continuation of the Sting Jeff Jarrett feud that's been going on ever since the end of 2005 going into 2006. So Sting was retired in quotation marks, but then Jeff Jarrett hired Alex Shelley to film Sting's All That, and then one part where Sting stops when he's driving, and then tells Alex Shelley to turn that camera off, and he tells him, you tell him that, he's like, hey, turn it off, and stuff like that. And then, Sting tells Shelley, you tell him that Sting's not coming to Destination X. Sting bored is, and then Jared was all freaked out about that, and then he said he had a surprise for him, and we all know who that was 20 years later. Anyways, but that's coming in the main event of this. After the main event, that is. But let's get on to the pay-per-view finally. With Alex Shelley defeating Jay Lethal in a pretty solid match. Yeah, like Alex Shelley was, like I said, he and Eric Young were basically like the paranoid. Well, Alex Shelley was not really a member of Planet Jarrett and all that, but yeah, I mean, there's that, and but yeah, this was actually a solid match. I give it a 7 out of 10 for that. So, but yeah, but then afterwards, he and, like I said, him and Eric were like the paranoid. Well, Alex Shelley was mostly like a satellite member of Planet Jarrett and all that, but still. Anyways, then Lance Hoyt defeats Matt Bentley. This whole started because he turned on Lance Hoyt on an episode of Explosion, which is a show I never saw ever. Like, never at all. So, there's that. Anyways. At the end of it, Eric Young was posting like wanted posters of Sting and all that, was just literally the only funny part about this match. But still, I give it a 5 out of 10. I know it's a fine match, but that's all I have to say, really. Anyways, then Team Canada, Byron and Eric Young defeats the Naturals. It's just a match that's just there. Really. It's a fine match. I give it a 6 out of 10. It was that. Anyways, then we had a 6-man tag match. The James Gang and Bob Armstrong defeats LAX. This was mostly to be the end of the James Gang LAX feud by a lockdown, which we obviously know about that. And then the James Gang feud with Team 3D afterwards. By sacrifice, and then that Steiner anniversary, which again I did that last year. So there is that. I mean, 4 out of 10 I'll give this match. I mean, there's that. I mean, Bob Armstrong should not be a part of this, but whatever. Anyways, then we get an international 4-way match. Chris Sammy defeats Petey Williams, Sanjay and Puma, and another good exhibition match. I give an 8 out of 10 for that. And yeah. Anyways, then we get the 8-man war, which you're thinking is going to be like an out-of-control fight, really? No, it's just an 8-man tag match. A wild slap match appears. Jeff Jarrett and America's Most Wanted defeats Rhino, Ron Killings, and Team 3D. I mean, it was a fun 8-man tag match. And yeah, fun match, I'll say. 7.5 out of 10, and afterwards Jeff Jarrett wants to get his World Title rematch, but that didn't happen yet. Abyss would get the World Title shot by a lockdown. You obviously know about that, and we'll talk about that more when I talk about Sacrifice in May. And all that. Because I already did Lockdown, like I said. That's already in the books. Don't have to talk about that. But still. Anyways, next up is the Ultimate X match for the X Division Championship. The continuation of the feud of these three going since their classic Unbreakable one into Against the Odds again. And now here's the Ultimate X match for the X Division Championship. Surprisingly, Christopher Daniels won, defeating Samoa Joe and AJ Styles and all that to win the X Division Championship. Unfortunately, the reign wouldn't last long because Joe won the belt back, and then Joe fought Sabu. Which, rest in peace to Sabu, by the way. I know he passed away last year. It was kind of a shock to us. And all that. The Samoa Joe Sabu match at Lockdown, by the way, was actually really good. By the way. But yeah. Also, before this, Jeremy Borash was interviewing Samoa Joe. He said Joe's streak is like similar to Goldberg's and all that. Like, that's not the. That's like, can you imagine in 2006 that Goldberg showed up? we all know that never happened. And yeah. Still, probably the best match on the show, a 9.9 out of 10. Yeah, a 9 out of 10, I'll give it. And all that. I mean, Joe didn't technically lose, so his streak is still intact, and that's fine about that. I mean, like I said, he would get the belt back and all that. Anyways, finally get the main event for the world title. Christian Cage defeats Monty Brown to retain the world title. Yeah, not much of a build towards this. I mean, it was a good match. I mean, it was better than the one from the last year's Destination X between Jared and DDP with a shitload of run-ins and all that. This would be Monty Brown's last world title shot he ever got in TNA, unfortunately. And he would not get another shot again by August. He would be gone and all that. And would go to WWE and had a forgettable run. He was not Monty Brown in WWE and all that. He was on that shitty ECW brand and all that. Still, I give it a 7 out of 10, you know. It was a good main event, but then that doesn't matter anyways. It's kind of a shame, really. After that, Jeff Jarrett comes out. He and Christian brawled. Then Abyss comes out. Then Reynolds tries to save him. Then Team Canada AEW comes out. Then they whip Christian with the leather belt. And then Sting comes out with Steve Bourne, whatever. Beat up the rest, and they're going to just flew out of the ring because he got scared at one point. He gets Jarrett in the Scorpion Deathlock, and Scott fucking Steiner comes out and attacks Sting and all that. They're Goldberg chants, by the way. So, for what reason? Who knows? Who cares? Steiner gets him in the Steiner recliner. Jarrett hits Sting with the Slapnuts guitar, and that's how the show ended. The pay-per-view ended. Whatever. Of course, it led to Lethal Lockdown, which I already mentioned. Lethal Lockdown 2006 with Sting's team and Jarrett's team, all that. And yeah, that was Destination X 2006. These Destination X pay-per-views were always good. For what I can go. I mean, yeah, I give it a 7.5 out of 10, yeah. Another solid TNA pay-per-view. And now I gotta talk about what next week is. I already show you what it is. Victory Road 2011. With that incident. I'm not telling you what it is. Stay tuned for next week. Because I'm not looking forward to it. 15 years later, we still are going to talk about that incident between Sting and Jeff Hardy. But that's next week. SmackDown will be tomorrow on the same day I get WTK 26 finally. And then United will be... Well, it'll be recorded sometime later in the day, and then it'll be posted on Saturday, so get that done with and all that, and there. So like this video, comment below, subscribe to this channel, notification bell, and rolling into the biggest show of the year on my main channel also. Knife Glory, that is my action figure company, that is. And continuing with my rush reviews, with next would be for Victory Road 2011. I am not looking forward to watching that pay-per-view. But yeah, bye-bye.